Let the record reflect that Mr. Secreto will be abstaining on this vote due to a family relationship. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Chief, the next item is the personnel request from your department. Would you please explain it to us?
Yes, it's referencing the hire of 2 part-time police dispatchers. This is just supplement our full-time staff and allow for regular days off as well as vacation periods.
Sure.
We had the opportunity to, the Personnel Committee had the opportunity to interview both people. Joan Dino Celadon and Madison Van Kuren, both being hired at a part-time for $17.53 an hour. They're both being recommended by the chief, and we have interviewed them and recommend them also.
I'll make the motion to accept.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion?
None.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Chief, the second one.
Motion to accept the resignation of part-time police officer Fazio.
In good standing?
Yes. Officer Fazio has had an ability to work additional hours at his other part-time police department. He's taken that opportunity.
You have a motion?
Yeah, make the motion.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Gentlemen, over the last 3 years, we have, as a board, considered a local law regulating digital signs for businesses. This is not the digital sign for the billboards, so let me make that clear. Earlier this year, the town planning board and zoning board requested that the town board reconsider the proposed law that was dropped 2 years ago. We introduced the law, held our public hearing, referred it to the planning board and the zoning board. They worked out their issues. And tonight, there is a resolution adopting local law blank of 2021, a local law pertaining to the regulation of digital signs. And before I ask for a motion, I wish to call your attention to a Scrivener's error in the 3rd paragraph of the resolution, which relates to type 2 seeker, and it refers to a previous law that the town board considered. This resolution will be revised tomorrow and recirculated, but this resolution is clearly for the adoption of the digital sign law. May I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? May I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilman Kitchen,
Yes.
Councilman Morrow,
Yes.
Councilman Secreto,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes, thank you. And we will have the revised resolution to the town clerk tomorrow for the records. Gentlemen, the next issue on the new business is a motion to close the checking account with the Bank of Greene County for the Katrine Lane Sewer Capital Project, as the project has been completed and closed out. May I have a motion to close the bank account?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Berardi, Chief Berardi, the next item under old business is the one that I believe has drawn the most attention tonight. Could you just please give us a brief explanation of what we are trying to accomplish here?
In numerous discussions over the last several months, the City of Kingston Police Department and the Town of Ulster Police Department are looking to jointly purchase a refurbished Lenco Bearcat armored rescue vehicle. I think over the discussions, we have spoken about it. We explained its needs. Chief Tinty and I, primary responsibility is to provide the safety and welfare of our membership, men and women, as well as the community. Unfortunately, though, that need is not always an attractive need. I think our records speak for ourselves. We both have maintained accredited New York State agencies through Department of Criminal Justice Services for many years, as well as we both maintain a joint multidisciplinary emergency services unit that's accredited by New York State Department of Criminal Justice Services, which means we regularly meet their standards and exceed them. I don't believe there's much more to say. That obviously we have been cleared by the state that we meet the standards continuously, and we'll continuously meet the standards going forward, and also provide for the best safety and security of our community as well as our officers.
Thank you. May I have a reading of the resolution into the record?
Sure.
I didn't tell you I was going to do this.
I thought you might. Got it. Resolution of the Town Board, Town of Ulster, authorizing the Town of Ulster Town Board to jointly purchase a Lenco Bearcat with the City of Kingston dated August 19th, 2021. Whereas the City of Kingston Police Department has secured a grant totaling $100,000 through the New York State Department of Homeland Security and Safety 2019 Tactical Team Grant. And whereas the City of Kingston has informed the Town of Ulster that it would like to use the above-mentioned grant for the purchase of an armored vehicle to be utilized by the Kingston Ulster Police Emergency Services Unit. And whereas the City of Kingston is proposing to utilize their $100,000 grant toward the purchase, with the Town of Ulster would be contributing the remaining $69,725. And whereas the acquisition of said armored vehicle would allow the Kingston Ulster Police Emergency Services Unit to resolve an incident with the least amount of risk of injury to civilians and officers. And whereas there are only 2 armored vehicles that are accessible to the Kingston Ulster Police Emergency Services Unit agencies, should the need arise. One such vehicle is located at Stewart Airport and is property of the New York State Police and is responsible for a coverage area spanning from the Hudson Valley to Long Island. And 2, the other vehicle is property of the Ulster County Sheriff's Office, and said vehicle requires specially trained operators due to the size and weight of said vehicle. And whereas the Town of Ulster now desires to purchase a certain armored security vehicle from Lenco, namely a Lenco Bearcat, jointly with the City of Kingston, as further described in Exhibit A attached hereto and incorporated herein. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Town of Ulster Town Board meeting in a regular session as follows. Section 1, the Town of Ulster Town Board hereby approves the special purchase of the Lenco Bearcat jointly with the City of Kingston up to the sum of $70,000. Section 2, the Town of Ulster Town Board hereby authorizes the town supervisor and/or the chief of police to execute any and all documents necessary to effectuate the purchase of the Lenco Bearcat. Section 3, deployment of said Lenco Bearcat is subject to adoption by the Town Board of the Town of Ulster of rules and regulations pertaining to the use and operation of said vehicle. Section 4, deployment of said Lenco Bearcat is subject to approval of a specific operations and maintenance agreement with the City of Kingston. Section 5, this resolution shall be of full force and effect from and upon its adoption and in accordance with New York law.
May I have a motion to accept the resolution as read?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Councilman Kitchen,
Yes, absolutely.
Councilman Morrow,
Yes.
Councilman Secreto,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
This issue has been a contentious issue for the community. We have had numerous public statements made in this forum. There have been numerous communications to the town board collectively and individually. We have listened to the comments, and I believe we are responding responsibly by setting forth conditions that the Town of Ulster Police Department must meet prior to the deployment of this vehicle. We are not entering into this agreement haphazardly. It is with full forethought that we are trying to do the best for our community. I am a yes. Motion passes. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is a resolution designating site plan amendment application a type 2 action and referring the application to the Ulster County Planning Board for Tristan Lazone Automotion project number 852, 888 Ulster Avenue, Kingston, New York, 12401, section block and lot 48.50-5-14. This is a process resolution only. This is not an approval of the project. May I have a motion to accept the resolution as presented?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The next item is a resolution addressing the Ulster County Planning Board comments on the Crossings Apartment, 400-416 Old Neighborhood Road, Lake Katrina, New York, 12449, section block and lot 48.7-1-12.110. This is a resolution overriding certain recommendations made by the Ulster County Planning Board in their review of this project under home rule. May I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a resolution providing for a negative declaration under seeker and granting conditional site plan approval for the Crossings Apartments, 400-416 Old Neighborhood Road, Lake Katrina, New York, 12449, section block and lot 48.7-1-12.110. This is the town board's approval of the project. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. The next two items do not require town board action tonight. They are a presentation of a resolution addressing the Ulster County Planning Board comments on the Kingston Ulster Air Park Helipad Project P-846 for 1121 Flatbush Road, Kingston, New York, 12401, section block lot 40.17-1-19.110. And a presentation of a resolution granting special use permit and site plan for the Kingston Ulster Air Park Helipad Project 846, 1121 Flatbush Road, Kingston, New York, 12401, section block and lot 40.17-1-19.110. Please note, it's the town of Ulster's Town Board's policy not to make a decision the night of a public hearing. We allow 30 days to accept written comments for those who are bashful and don't want to stand up at the mic. And they can submit their comments to the town clerk. They will be considered at a future meeting when the matter will be brought back after 30 days for deliberation and a decision. There is no action to be taken tonight on the Kingston Ulster Air Park other than conducting the public hearing that everyone is here for tonight. The next item on our agenda is a resolution initiating seeker for site plan application and referring the application to the Ulster County Planning Board for the Ulster Recreation Facility. That is a tennis facility, project 851. It's located on Route 28, Kingston, New York, 12401, section block and lot 47.2-4-3.100. This again is merely a process resolution setting the project in motion for review under seeker and by the town planning board. May I have a motion to accept the resolution?
I'll make it.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a motion to set a public hearing for a special use permit for home occupation for Robert Inocio. It's project 850, 185 Eastern Parkway Extension, Saugerties, New York, 12477, section block and lot 39.11-5-1.300 for Thursday, September 2nd, 2021 at 7:10. This is for the conducting of a home business, and he needs a special use permit from the town board to do so. So may I have a motion to accept the resolution setting the public hearing?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I have one item left that I will save for after the public hearing. But at this point, Mr. Kovacs, can you explain to us the reason for having this public hearing?
The helipad is considered an aviation-related project. Aviation facilities are permitted in the zoning district where the property is situated, subject to a special permit of the town board.
It should be noted that this is a parcel separate and distinct from the existing airport parcel, which has been in existence for many, many years prior to zoning. This public hearing tonight does not affect the operations of the airport, but merely the operation of the adjacent property where a barn was built under a building permit for the storage of helicopters, which therefore constitutes an aviation use under the zoning code and requires a special use permit. So with that being said, is there anyone here from the airport tonight? Could you explain to us the current use of the parcel?
Yes, Supervisor Quigley. Todd Cogshaw for Kingston Ulster Airport Incorporated. The current use of the parcel is for the storage and flight of helicopters. As you stated correctly, a permit was granted for the construction of the hangar in 2018. A certificate of occupancy and compliance was given in 2019. The FAA has since visited the site and approved it for aviation use, including giving a letter of determination and a report on the status of the heliport and an official FAA designator of 04NY. So the facility is ready for use in the eyes of the FAA, and we come before the town board to seek the special permit to close the loop and cross the Ts and dot the Is, so to speak.
What type of helicopters are stored in the hangar, sir?
There are light helicopters. There's a Bell 429, which is a small jet Ranger, twin engine. There is a A-Star, which is a single engine light helicopter. And we also have very light helicopters, I would say, is the Robinson 44 and the Hughes OH-6, which is a notoriously quiet aircraft. And I think I covered all of them.
You can turn that around for
Hughes
the
269.
audience
All
also.
light.
Are we talking about the storage or hangaring of large military type aircraft or helicopters or large helicopters such as those that are used by the state police?
No, we're not talking about hangaring Hueys or UH-60 aircraft, which frequently visit the public use side of the airport. As of right now, the heliport is going to be a private use facility. So basically the tenants are the owners of these light aircraft, and they will be the ones that are using the facility.
Okay, and given that the complaints in the community have been from the loud helicopters, they are not stored at this facility. Can they use this facility?
They could land at the facility, just need enough room for the helicopter to set down. The state police have visited the facility on occasion, maybe once or twice over the past 6 months that I've been there. But the Army National Guard helicopters out of Albany and the state police typically will do a touch and go on the runway at the airport.
The main runway
The
on the
main
other
runway
parcel?
on the airport.
Okay, town board, any questions for Todd on the operations?
No.
That they're talking about here? Thank you, sir. At this point, I would like a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll make that.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to open tonight's public hearing on the issuance of a special use permit for the hangar parcel adjacent to the Kingston Ulster Airport. Please come to the podium. Please state your name, your town of residence. We're not going to ask you for your address. And please attempt to keep your comments limited to 3 minutes. Mr. Ring, I see you moving.
Thank you. My name's Jeffrey Ring. I live in the town of Ulster. Full disclosure, I am the town planning chairman. The comments tonight are my own. I'm a tenant of the airport, and I have abstained from voting on this in the town board process. I just want to give a little background. In 2018, when we first began to have more increased traffic of helicopters at the airport, the FAA, and I'm a safety representative for the FAA for the airport, we met to talk about the intermixing of the fixed wing aircraft with the helicopter aircraft, since there were some challenges and they don't always mingle well. It was recommended that there be a separate site for the helicopters at the time, given the current use. So that's some background about why that parcel is there. I'd like to make note that the airport is a publicly funded, privately owned airport, and that tonight, whatever's decided isn't going to reduce or increase traffic at the Kingston-Ulster Airport. It's free to use by anybody who has a helicopter or airport or airplane whenever, day or night at the Kingston Airport. So this will not increase traffic. It will not decrease traffic. What it will do is move the traffic from close to the Whittier neighborhood about a half a mile away from the Whittier neighborhood. So this actually removes the helicopter and the traffic and the noise further away from the residential neighborhood from where it is today. Additionally, the airport's added a fuel pump for specific to jet type fuel, which most of these helicopters use. It is down there at the end of the runway by the helipad, away from the neighborhood. So I personally view this as positive for the community in that it increases the safety of mixing fixed wing airplanes with helicopters, and it moves the noise and the activity from the helicopters away from the neighborhood, the residential neighborhood. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Sir, question. As the representative of the airport for FAA safety issues, are there any issues to be noted that the FAA called to attention to the operators during the course of their review of the proposed process?
At the meetings, there were representatives of the prior ownership of the airport. There was myself, there was some other safety representatives there. There was the FAA, the local FBO. It was noted that it was not a good idea to run the helicopters up and over the fence that divides the two properties. And I believe the airport current new owners may have a long-term plan to combine the properties, but that was the safety issue noted.
And do you have knowledge of the flight patterns of the helicopters? Because as we know,
Sure.
the fixed wing aircraft come in over the bridge, depending upon the wind, or they come in from the other direction over Whittier.
Sure, I do.
What type of flight patterns, what might we be observing? And I think we got a visual to
So
assist.
So today, the fixed wing airplanes, when they're landing to the southeast, fly over the Whittier neighborhood as they make their traffic pattern. The helicopters, they fly on the other side, so they fly on the non-residential side.
Would you, by the non-residential side, you're saying the west side of Route 32 over the woods?
south, yes, the south side of the airport. Okay, and that would be consistent with the way the new parcel, I believe, would be used. So it does increase the safety because the helicopters are further away from the fixed wing airplane.
And everyone in the audience see that? If we could just continue to hold that up so people get a chance to absorb it.
This is Route 32 here. This is 199 with the Kingston Rhine Cliff Bridge. Principal approach pass for the helicopters in and out of the heliport, or directly from the south over the Hudson River, or from the Route 32 side, west east.
Okay,
And I would note one other thing, just since this is being asked for as a private use, privately owned airport, I would just want to have a condition on this that whatever construction and future expansion doesn't detract or negatively impact the public use side of the airport. I believe the FAA would agree with that.
that's a reasonable,
Yes.
okay.
And we would go through both the town planning board and the FAA for development projects on the airfield.
Okay, very good. Any additional comments? Stuart? See, I know who you are behind the mask.
Stuart Dean, on Ulster Landing Road, which in the town of Ulster, which is important because it happens that the final, what is known in aviation as the final leg of landing, is about 200 feet out from from my property.
Neighborhood right here,
Yeah,
Dunwoody's right there.
Right.
Drive,
where's the river? River's here.
River's over here.
Okay, I live over here, and I regularly have, I live here so that they're 200 feet out from the end of my property. And there is a thudding that makes the house shake, the windows rattle, and unlike fixed-wing aircraft, the fixed-wing aircraft move rather quickly, and they don't make a lot of noise. Generally, on the climb out, they make some noise, but on final, they're coasting in. And there isn't this boom, 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 boom. And they go through faster. Their speed on final is maybe twice as fast as what a helicopter does. This was originally an airport for general aviation. It's turning into an airport for heavy commercial use. I have to ask, this is a situation with the camel getting its nose in the tent. Are there any limitations to the size and weight of helicopters, and for that matter, fixed-wing aircraft? That airport was built with our tax dollars. That is, it used to have a very shoddy runway, and you could look down and it was like a roller coaster. Now it's dead as a die, but it's that way because federal funds that you and I and everybody else pays for made it so. And now these good people are looking to make a dollar and to enjoy their particular passion. But I think there should be limits put to it, that there might be scheduling and noise limitations on how the airport can be used. Otherwise, we may find the camel in the tent with us. That's about it. I thank you all. Thank you.
Based upon information I have from the FAA, 20 ends runway and associated infrastructure meet the FAA design standards for fixed-wing aircraft in design groups 1 and 2. Design group 1 aircraft have a wingspan of less than 49 feet, and that's an example of a Cessna 172. Design group aircraft 2 have a wingspan of less than 79 feet, which is an example of a Beech King Air or a Cessna Caravan. Helicopters, as well as airplanes, are allowed to use the airport based upon their maximum gross weight, not to exceed 12,500 pounds per wheel. Are those the type of design standards or restrictions that you're seeking?
I have no issue with fixed-wing aircraft. The helicopters, the heavy helicopters that come in, some of the military, some of the people coming up from the city, come in with big helicopters and they make a lot of noise.
Do you have your comments in writing?
What?
Your comments in writing?
No.
Okay.
But
If you wish, because I know you like to send me emails, can you translate them in and then I can respond to you appropriately?
Okay.
Thank you. Any additional comments from any individuals in the audience tonight? No hands? I got one coming from the back.
My name's Steve Agopian. I have a budding parcel to the airport. I'm just wondering if the stipulations to the special use permit will be based on if they keep the flight path that they show, and if they deviate, the permit can be rescinded. If there's, because we've had issues that helicopters go wherever they feel like. And you can't say that this is a separate permit because you're piggybacking on stating that this airport's been there since before zoning. So it is part of, you're using the existing airport as part of the approval for this project. And yet, when it isn't helpful, you use it saying it's a separate parcel.
Okay, I'm just trying to understand, you said an adjacent parcel. I know that there is ownership interest by a Hagopian on the west side of Route 32.
Correct.
On the hill. Is that the parcel you're referring to?
Yes, and the parcel that they bought my parcel with is, I guess, at one time was gonna be the tower.
I didn't know they owned any property on the west side of 32.
As far as I understood, when I
There's never gonna
purchased,
be a tower there.
what,
There
as
was
far
never.
when I purchased the property, there's a parcel north of Mr. Sorensen parcel that is a notch into, that butts my property. It's where they're supposedly in 58, 56 was gonna put the tower there. After the Resnick antenna project fell through.
Can I have a phone number for you, sir?
My number,
Yeah, please.
845-853-8285,
853.
8285.
8285. I'd like to take your comments under consideration.
And would it be possible that if there's any documentation, the website states that there's digital information, but the only digital information was the agenda. If there's other information that the applicant wants that is going to present to the boards, could we
The
have that on digital?
complete package that supports tonight's agenda will be posted tomorrow morning.
It's on there.
It's on there now.
Mhm.
That will include the resolutions that we talked about and read into the record. Mr. Ring, what documents did the planning board?
We received a notice of termination from the FAA. We received the site plan from Mr. Kovashaw, and I think that's it.
Okay, I will ask, Steve, that the town clerk contact the building department tomorrow to obtain digital copies of those documents and add them to the website.
That would be great. Then I would use
And
that
then I
for 30
will
days to
discuss your comments with the town board and the applicants, and we'll get back to you.
All right, thank you very
Thank
much.
Mr. Ring, I think you started to stand up before he came up.
I just wanted to add one quick clarification. So the airport's encumbered by the grants, and there's a grant assurance program that the FAA runs. And that FAA assurance program describes the types of operations that are allowed at the airport and must be maintained. So it's general aviation, as you said, type 1 and type 2, which includes the helicopter. So it cannot be discriminated against. So you can't say airplanes are fine, helicopters are not, ultralights are not, and so on. I also further like to say that as far as traffic patterns goes, the jurisdiction of the flight path is of the FAA, not this town board.
Okay. Any other comments from any individuals here tonight?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Ladies and gentlemen, public comment will continue to be received for a period of 30 days in the form of a written comment submitted to the town clerk at 1 Town Hall Drive. You can send it to her via email. You can drop it off. You can send it via snail mail. If you have anything, we will surely consider it. Moving back to our agenda, before I open the floor for general comment tonight, Mr. Berardi, Chief Berardi. At several prior meetings, we have taken comments in reference to the traffic pattern on Quail Drive Extension. You deployed their traffic control device that the Town of Ulster Police Department has. Could you report your findings on what you found?
The traffic safety sign was deployed for a 5-day period on what would have been the dead end section of Quail Drive, which abuts Quail Drive Extension, based on several complaints. Over a 5-day period, I did witness or observe through data that is obtained through the sign is 10 motorists did come down Quail Drive Extension on the one-way do it on intersection from Ulster Gardens complex. Cross-referencing those vehicles, several of them were registered to Quail Drive, or excuse me, to Ulster Gardens addresses. At no time during any of those motors did travel over 30 miles an hour. There were less than 30 miles an hour. I will be making contact with management at Ulster Gardens to try to reassure that their residents are aware that as a do not enter, they can't utilize that roadway, come down it. The other vehicles that travel down, it's hard to correlate if they're visitors, friends, passerbys, or whatever the case may be.
Okay, that concludes Chief Berardi's report to the town board about his investigation of the complaints at Quail Drive Extension. I wish to let the people know that we are still waiting for the New York State Department of Transportation's response to Town Clerk Suzanne Reevy's request for a speed study so that the Highway Department of the Town of Ulster can post a speed limit on that section of road, which would then give the Town Police Department the ability to enforce the speed limit in addition to enforce driving in the wrong direction. So with that being said, that concludes tonight's agenda. I am more than happy to open tonight's town board meeting to general comment on any topic. If there's anything you wish to share with the town board members, or for that fact, any of the town operating departments, if there are any issues you wish to make us aware of, please come to the podium. Please state your name and let us know what's on your mind.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for doing what you're doing. It's not easy. My name is Larry Warner. I just wanted to know what kind of protection people that live in mobile home parks have as far as safety issues and so forth.
Are you talking about safety of the structures, or are you talking about?
Safety of people. We, as you know, we recently had a couple of huge trees come down in Spring Lake Mobile Home Park on a Friday night, and they're blocking the road. There was no way a fire truck or ambulance or anybody could get through. So I called Botini's and they said they'd take care of it on Monday morning, which I didn't think was reasonable. I called the state police. They said they couldn't come on. It was private property. They couldn't do nothing. I called the town. They said they couldn't do nothing. So the trees sat there for a whole weekend and were removed on Monday afternoon. We have a lot of issues like that. Sewage leaks that sit in yards for weeks. You had sent the building inspector there once and they found that there were over 100 sewer pipes not capped, and they capped them. I just want to know if we have anybody to call to help us.
Well, I think the first call should go always to the building department. I'm sorry, Warren, but
matter of fact, that part is on schedule in the next few days to have a full inspection. We're going to inspect every single unit there, be it if there's a unit on it. And I do have Mr. Burke's phone number, so I will be reaching out to him. I did not know about the tree coming down.
This was a while ago. I don't even know how long ago it was.
It was a while ago because he called me and I did have that discussion with you, Warren. You did go out there. And I think you facilitated the removal on Monday. Because you talked to the operators out there. I think that's what spurred them on.
They would know that day. That was the one. They had supposedly had somebody dispatch come out that day. Did they come out that day? That doesn't preclude the fact that the tree came down over the weekend. You couldn't get fire apparatus.
Right.
That's.
Well, that's like the winter time. If we get 14 inches of snow, they don't plow until 1 in the afternoon, 2 in the afternoon. I don't think that's reasonable.
I'm going to ask the town attorney to take and investigate if the town board has any ability to establish any standards as it relates to the maintenance, operation and maintenance of the mobile home parks, relates to public safety issues, which is, I think, the area where the town board will have an enforcement capability.
Yeah.
Well, we can review our town code for that. We can also review the state code for property.
Mr. Warner, the second issue, as you mentioned, the sewer issues. We, as a town, have made application for funding for the grant for the Spring Lake Sewer Project Phase 2. I have had many discussions with the engineers for Botini. They are seriously considering connecting to municipal sewer, which will mean a complete revision to the sewer connections within the facility, which will alleviate your concerns that you expressed before.
I just get retaliated against every time I bring something up from Botini's.
I didn't see him here tonight.
You can submit those to my department anonymously.
I don't care if it's anonymous. But we have a long stretch of road, right? And I'm like in the middle of it.
Right.
So I call them up to ask if they could put a speed limit sign there. Because the kids play there all the time. And what they did was they brought a speed limit sign, but they have a stop sign on top of it also. And they put it right in front of my place. So everybody in the park thought that. I requested it. And
They're now stopping in front of your place?
Nobody stopped.
Okay.
You know. But them signs have since been stolen or whatever. They're not there anymore. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
That's okay. Any additional public comment on any topic that you wish to share with the town board tonight? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very much. This has been the most attended meeting that the Town of Ulster Town Board has had probably in 2 years. I hope we have answered your questions, and I hope you consider that we are being responsive to the needs of the community. With that, I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you at the next meeting on September 2nd.